Steve, now having played 2 playoff games inside Chase Center, how would you describe the advantage this team has playing in front of that home crowd?
Yeah, the crowd's been great. Energy's been fantastic. I think the players have really executed well these first 2 games. Followed the game plan, stayed solid. 9 turnovers tonight. 27 assists. And the crowd feels it. The crowd feels it when we're playing well, and we feed off of each other at that point.
So how would you describe watching Jordan? And we've talked about how he's a bright lights player, but this might that have been his best game? Was that some of the best stuff you've seen from him tonight?
Yeah. I mean, especially under the circumstances, given that this is a playoff game, and the importance of the game for him to follow up that game 1 where he was great with another game like this. Some of the flurries out there from him tonight reminded me of his teammate who came off the bench a little bit. It's pretty remarkable to see the similarities now that with both the on and off ball stuff. I mean, Jordan has had a pretty good apprenticeship with learning from Steph, but he was fantastic tonight.
Steve, how much does it help the offense to have 2 guys who can start at the perimeter and get to the inside the paint with their penetration, with their dribbling?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And we've been hoping to get to this point all year where we could get our whole group together just to see what that would look like. And I'm talking about with Draymond, with Clay, and Steph and Jordan. Wiggs has been a great part of that unit too. These first 2 games, closing the first half, another 8 rebounds for Wiggs tonight. I mentioned before the game, that's the biggest concern when we play that small unit is the glass, and I thought Wiggs did a really good job. Draymond, I don't know what to say about him. I mean, you just don't look at the stat sheet because it doesn't mean anything. Draymond dominated that game. And he was dominating throughout the first half, and late in the half I got a stat sheet. I looked down, he had 1 point and 3 rebounds. He was dominating. So this guy is just one of the most unique and powerful and impactful players I've ever seen.
You mentioned well, you mentioned waiting to see that lineup, and particularly with that 3-guard lineup of Steph, Clay, and Jordan. We've been talking about that for a long time. When you first kind of sat down with your staff and said, yeah, we're going to do a 3-guard lineup, is that what you envisioned it looking like, or is it more than what you thought?
Well, we envisioned, we've sort of played this way for many years. With Draymond at 5, and we've had a few different variations of that unit. Obviously, with Kevin Durant, and before that, Harrison Barnes, and Andre Iguodala was always part of that group. So, Clay, Steph, and Draymond are incredibly comfortable playing this style. It's the same style. It's just different additions with this squad. So. I never envisioned Jordan playing this well, at the beginning of this season, even though he had a great season a year ago. I couldn't envision this, but he's earned it. This guy puts the work in every single day in the gym and believes in himself, and he's got a lot of skill.
You got 23 minutes out of your 6th man. What do you think of the way he played?
It didn't surprise me that because we've been watching this for a long time with Steph, so you never really are surprised when he has an outburst like that. It's great to see. Obviously, just coming back and being on a minutes restriction. The other night he had to kind of get his feet wet, but you could see as the game went on. Game 1, I'm talking about, he got more and more comfortable, and you could see tonight he was ready to break out.
Going back to Draymond's What do you think about his defense specifically on Jokic? Because Draymond said he sort of expected a counterpunch. Jokic, 40, 15, 15. But Draymond played a role again in frustrating Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, Jokic is amazing, and we have to throw everything at him to try to limit him. And that's, I thought Loon did a great job early on. He picked up a couple early fouls, but was battling him. And then Draymond took his turn. Belly had a few possessions on him. So I think, all we're trying to do is defend him without fouling and crowd him and try to put as much pressure on him as possible because he's just a brilliant player. He's so skilled that you can't just sit back and let him pick you apart.
Speaking of Jokic, the Peyton block came pretty early on when Jokic was going pretty good. It seemed to frustrate Jokic, or maybe something Peyton said to him frustrated him. But it seemed like Jokic, he got thrown out of the game too. Not that you're trying to irritate him, but did you? And was Peyton a big part of that?
Well, Gary's a fantastic defender. I thought he played really well tonight. A lot of ball pressure. He blocked a couple shots. He's in the fray all the time. He's so athletic that he's out there getting deflections, getting steals. It's he makes a real impact on the game. He's done that all year. So whatever we can do to try to deal with Jokic, we have to try to do. But we've done a decent job here the first two games, but now we've got to go on the road, and we know how good he is, and what's waiting for us in Denver in terms of the energy and the crowd and all of that. So got a lot of work ahead.
You mentioned Wiggins' importance, defensively in that unit, particularly on the glass. How about offensively? He's kind of is the fifth of the players, probably usually stationary in the corner. But how important is him to hit threes, but also slash when they kind of ignore him? Yeah,
I mean, he's a really complimentary part of that group. He made a couple threes early when we were struggling, which was important. And then if you think about that unit with Jordan, Steph, Clay, I mean, they draw so much attention that Andrew's going to get some hoops, some space to drive. And you saw it in game one. Not as much tonight because the guys were making shots. They were letting it fly before Wiggs even touched the ball. But I think he understands that it's a great spot for him. He's played a huge role for us all year at both ends, and he's a plus 24 tonight. He's doing his job, and